And now it seems like you have none. Dawand Jones out for the year, season-ending right knee surgery.
They didn't call it on the field, and I guess, to them, there wasn't enough to overturn it. But I told my guys, when we got out there, believe at halftime that we're going to win this ball game. We just got to keep believing, keep your head up, and just keep fighting. And, we came through.
Something crazy just happened with the Cleveland Browns, and fans can't believe it. In the last 2 days, things have taken a weird turn. A big player is upset, someone got hurt, and now everyone's talking. But no one knows what's really going on yet. What started all this? It's not what you think, and it might just change everything. It all started with a collapse. In a tightly contested game against the Green Bay Packers, starting left tackle Dawand Jones went down with what was later confirmed as a season-ending ACL tear. For any team, losing your blindside protector is a devastating blow. For the Browns, it was a red alert. Jones had become an anchor on the line, and his absence has left gaping holes that opposing defenses are already exploiting. The timing couldn't have been worse. But amid the chaos, something remarkable happened. The Browns' defense showed up, not just to play, but to dominate. In a game that ended with a nail-biting 13-10 scoreline, the defense was the difference maker. Late in the fourth quarter, with the Packers lining up for what should have been a game-winning 43-yard field goal, the Browns' special teams unit made the play of the day, blocking the kick and keeping the team alive. That moment would prove to be the turning point, because just minutes later, rookie kicker Szmyt stepped up and silenced every doubter he's had this season. Szmyt, who had been under fire for inconsistency and critical misses, drilled a 55-yard field goal as time expired. The crowd exploded. The critics paused, and the rookie walked off with a moment that could redefine his season. Redemption, earned the hard way. While Szmyt may have bought himself some time, the same can't be said for quarterback Joe Flacco. The veteran is in a pressure cooker. In that same game, he threw 21 completions on 36 attempts for just 141 yards and 1 interception. The offense felt stale, predictable, and uninspired. The boos from the home crowd weren't subtle. They were loud and pointed. And they weren't just about one bad game. They were about a growing sense that Flacco might not be the guy anymore. Behind him, waiting, are two very different but equally intriguing options. Rookie Dillon Gabriel, known for his accuracy and decision-making, and Shedeur Sanders, a dual-threat star with a magnetic presence and sky-high potential. The pressure to make a switch is rising. Even Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson has joined the conversation, publicly criticizing the Browns for their handling of young quarterbacks and going so far as to suggest that Sanders should be released. That comment didn't just sting, it sent shockwaves through the fan base. But not everyone is giving up on the rookie just yet. The Browns recently re-signed wide receiver Luke Floria to the practice squad, a move that may seem minor on the surface but could have deeper implications. Florida has strong chemistry with Sanders from off-season workouts, and bringing him back into the mix might be a subtle nod that the coaching staff is at least considering a future beyond Flacco. Then there's Myles Garrett, the heart and soul of the defense, a freak athlete, a man who just months ago was considering leaving the franchise entirely. Garrett requested a trade earlier this year, frustrated by what he saw as a lack of direction and urgency from the Browns. But the front office wasn't about to let him walk. Instead, they signed him to a massive 4-year, $160 million extension with over $120 million guaranteed and a no-trade clause to boot. It wasn't just about the money for Garrett. He made it clear. He wants to win, and he's not interested in being part of a mediocre rebuild. His performance against the Packers was a direct message. Garrett humiliated the Packers' offensive line, including one viral clip where he juked a guard so badly the player ended up blocking his own teammate. It was football poetry. And it wasn't just a highlight, it was a statement. Garrett is playing at a Defensive Player of the Year level, and he expects the rest of the team to catch up.
Yo, impose your fucking will all day. That's all they've been talking about. Matchups, offensive line, defensive line. Who got the better fronts? Impose your fucking will on the man in front of you. Dominate him all day, every snap, all day, or every play. Come on.
After the game, Garrett didn't mince words. Though he didn't name names, he made it clear that he expects more from the team's leaders, especially on offense. He spoke about holding everyone accountable and playing to win, not just to survive. For a locker room already dealing with uncertainty under center, Garrett's comments added gasoline to the fire. What's brewing in Cleveland isn't just a quarterback controversy, it's a cultural battle. A battle between the old guard and the new wave, between playing it safe and chasing something bigger. Flacco represents stability, but it's a shaky one. Gabriel and Sanders represent potential, but also risk. And in the NFL, timing is everything. One wrong move could sink the season. One bold decision could spark a revival. Beyond the field, the Browns are making moves that suggest they're thinking long-term. The team recently received approval to build a $2.4 billion domed stadium in Brook Park, a suburb of Cleveland. It's a seismic shift. The new stadium won't just change where the team plays, it'll change the identity of the franchise. It's a signal that ownership wants Cleveland to become a premier football destination, a modern powerhouse. The stadium news also casts a shadow over the current team. Are the Browns building for the future while sacrificing the present? Fans are asking that question more loudly with each passing week, especially when the team looks like it's on the verge of imploding or exploding, no one can quite tell which. In the middle of it all, there's the fan base, loyal, impatient, desperate for consistency. For years, the Browns have been synonymous with chaos, and just when it seemed like they'd turned the corner, they found themselves right back in the storm. Injuries, quarterback drama, locker room tension. And yet, there's a pulse, a real chance that, with the right moves, this team could actually make noise. So what happens next? Does Flacco keep the job and steady the ship, or does the coaching staff roll the dice on a rookie, risking growing pains for the chance at something greater? Will Garrett's leadership push the team to rise, or will the internal tension fracture the locker room? Is Andre Szmyt's hero moment the start of a redemption arc, or just a blip in an otherwise rocky year? No one knows, but one thing is clear, the Browns aren't boring. Not this year, not ever. Whether they implode or ignite, this season is going to leave a mark, and the decisions made over the next few weeks could define not just this season, but the entire direction of the franchise for years to come. If there's one lesson from Cleveland's first few weeks, it's this: expect the unexpected. The Browns may be battered, but they're not beaten. Not yet. There's a fight left in this team. There's chaos. And in that chaos, there just might be opportunity. The ball is in their court, or more precisely, in Flacco's hands, for now.
Having said that, Dillon Gabriel, respectfully, it was stupid. A very dumb comment to make. First of all, let me tell you something right now.
Stephen A. Smith heard what Dillon Gabriel said about Shedeur Sanders, and he wasn't having it. One comment was all it took for Stephen A. to go off. What did Gabriel say? And why did it make Stephen A. so angry? When you join the NFL as a rookie quarterback, everything you do and say gets a lot of attention. And when two rookies are competing for the same spot, that attention gets even more intense. That's the situation Dillon Gabriel was in during this preseason with the Cleveland Browns. He made a comment that got people talking. There are entertainers and there are competitors. That one sentence sparked rumors, criticism, and a lot of debate. Some thought it was just a simple comment, but others believed it showed something deeper about how he sees the game and maybe even his teammates. What followed was a lesson in how quickly things can get out of control when words are misunderstood, and how public image matters just as much as performance in the NFL.
But for me, I've explained it. Entertainers are you all, competitor. That's what I am and all my teammates, and we both have jobs to do.
Gabriel's quote came during a preseason game against the Philadelphia Eagles. After one of his early appearances, he spoke from the sideline. There's entertainers and there are competitors, and I totally understand that. But my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing. Many took notice because he followed that by clarifying in his post-game presser that he wasn't aiming at a teammate, but rather speaking to the media. He said he saw media members as entertainers and that he wanted to be viewed as a competitor. He insisted he respects all involved and that this line of distinction wasn't new to him.
Understand that, and my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on doing.
So why did that one sentence stir so much reaction? First, it's because Gabriel is one of several quarterbacks in a tight competition within the Browns organization. Alongside him are Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Shedeur Sanders, another rookie who's drawn considerable attention in part because of his pedigree and media spotlight. Second, the NFL and the Browns both operate in a media environment where narrative matters. Any suggestion that someone else is more entertainer than competitor can be read as shade, whether intended or not. With Sanders already getting attention for his college success, his father being Deion Sanders, and his social media presence, Gabriel's comment immediately set off speculation. Third, performance matters. Gabriel had a decent showing in that game. He completed 13 of 18 passes for 143 yards, though he also had turnovers, including an interception and a lost fumble that left room for critique. Those moments become part of the context in which comments like his are judged. Enter Stephen A. Szmyt. On First Take, he addressed Gabriel's quote directly. He said that yes, he believed Gabriel when he said he meant the media, not Sanders, but that the quote was still stupid, very dumb, even idiotic. Smith's concern was that Gabriel had unnecessarily elevated scrutiny. When you say something that can be interpreted as critical of the media or of how things are covered, you invite more eyes and more critique.
Having said that, Dillon Gabriel, respectfully, it was stupid. A very dumb comment.
Szmyt reminded everyone that competition exists everywhere in media, business, and sports. That's what drives greatness. Gabriel's comment, even if aimed at the media, opened him up to judgment. If he underperforms, those words will come back to haunt him, especially with Sanders already proving himself. To his credit, Gabriel clarified he meant the media, not teammates. Meanwhile, Sanders stayed calm and didn't feed into the drama. He made it clear he didn't see Gabriel's comment as personally directed at him. In interviews, he said it doesn't change the way he works and he's focused on performance. He expressed confidence that his path in the NFL is about being prepared, staying humble, and handling the external noise with discipline. From the team perspective, there is no confirmed report of tension in the locker room. Observers noted that sometimes people in high competition scenarios read between the lines, especially when narrative is already being written by the media. But official quotes from Sanders and Gabriel suggest they are trying to stay professional despite public interpretation. This moment is bigger than one quote. In today's NFL, everything a rookie quarterback says gets picked apart. Gabriel's entertainers versus competitors line sounded like he was drawing a line between style and substance, even if he didn't mean to. That kind of message shapes how people see you, fast.
It's just part of it. You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors. And I totally understand that. And my job is to compete. And that's what I'm focused on doing.
Also, when you make public statements, viewers almost always assume there's a target. When two people are fighting for the same job, people assume the shot is at the other. For Gabriel, that means his words were going to be weighed not just against what he meant, but what others thought he meant. And that is where Smith's criticism hits hardest. Not that Gabriel was lying, but that he should have known how powerful the echo of his words could be. Gabriel's comment opened the door for media and fan criticism. Stephen A. Szmyt calling it stupid locked it into his public image. If Gabriel struggles on the field, that quote could haunt him. With Sanders already ahead in the spotlight, Gabriel must perform and manage how he's perceived because, in the NFL, every word is part of the show. Although there is no reliable reporting of internal conflict, in any competition, there is risk. If teammates or others interpret someone's comments as divisive, it can affect trust, even if unintentionally. Contracts, endorsements, and public image all hinge on how you are viewed by media, fans, and front office. A rookie who develops a reputation for being combative or for speaking in ways that seem passive-aggressive has to manage whether that becomes more visible than his play on the field. It's not too late for Gabriel or any young player in a similar spot to manage things better. The first step is being explicit about meaning when saying something that could be read multiple ways. If you mean the media, say so immediately, with respect. Say something like, "I respect what you do, but here's where I think my role is." In interviews, focus on teamwork, preparation, and shared goals. Avoid divisive language, it can backfire. When criticized, respond calmly and clearly like Gabriel and Sanders did. In the end, your play matters most. Perform well, and people forget the noise. Struggle, and every word gets replayed. This is also a case study in what happens when a prominent media figure weighs in. Stephen A. Szmyt has reached an authority. When he says something is stupid or very dumb, many listeners take it as permission to repeat that criticism, amplify it, or assume that the damage is real. That kind of feedback loop can shape public perceptions very quickly. Szmyt emphasized that even if Gabriel's intended target was the media, the quote opened a door. Stephen A. Smith warned that if you perform poorly, people won't just remember the game, they'll remember what you said, especially if it sounds arrogant. In today's NFL, the media shapes the story, and your words can define your image. Dillon Gabriel's comment wasn't just a mistake, it was a reminder that how you speak matters as much as how you play. He tried to explain himself, and Sanders stayed focused, but that one quote still left a lasting impact. In the NFL, being a quarterback is about more than just stats. It's also about respect, trust, and how you handle attention. For Dillon Gabriel, this moment was a big risk. For Stephen A. Smith, it showed how powerful words can be. If Gabriel wants to control his story now, he'll need to play well, speak clearly, and stay consistent, because once something is said in public, it sticks.
Shedeur Sanders didn't want to go to the Baltimore Ravens because the Baltimore Ravens had a black quarterback. Somebody hear that? Like, what? Who the hell this kid think he is?
Yeah.
No. It should have been.
Cam Newton just delivered a shocking blow against Shedeur Sanders. The former MVP couldn't believe Sanders turned down a chance to join the Baltimore Ravens, all because he didn't want to sit behind Lamar Jackson. Did Shedeur's bold choice just ruin his future before it even began? The NFL is all about big decisions. Draft picks, contracts, and the quick choices players make on the field can shape entire careers. But sometimes one decision sparks a much bigger storm. That's what happened when reports came out that Shedeur Sanders, the young quarterback and son of legend Deion Sanders, turned down a chance to play for the Baltimore Ravens. The reason? He didn't want to sit on the bench behind Lamar Jackson.
141st overall selection, but when he found out, he got word back to the Ravens that he preferred not to go to a place where he would be competing and backing up.
The news spread fast. Analysts gave their opinions, fans argued online, and then a powerful voice stepped in. Former NFL MVP Cam Newton, a quarterback who's lived through the highs and lows of the game, spoke out. His reaction turned the story into a major headline. To understand why this matters, let's rewind. In the build-up to the 2025 NFL Draft, Shedeur Sanders was one of the most talked-about prospects. Not only was he the son of Deion Sanders, one of the greatest cornerbacks in league history, but he also carried with him the spotlight of playing at Colorado under his father's coaching. His arm strength, accuracy, and poise made scouts pay attention. Yet despite his potential, there were questions. Was his success at Colorado a product of his father's system, or could he translate his talent to the NFL level? Would teams trust him as a franchise quarterback immediately, or would he need time to develop? When draft day came, the big names went off the board early. Sanders slid lower than many expected. That's where the Baltimore Ravens appeared ready to step in. According to NFL insider Adam Schefter, the Ravens were considering drafting Sanders in the 5th round. Baltimore saw value in having a young quarterback who could learn behind Lamar Jackson, their superstar and the face of the franchise. But then came the twist. Schefter reported that Sanders and his camp made it clear he did not want to be drafted by Baltimore if it meant sitting behind Lamar Jackson. In the NFL, the label of backup quarterback is complicated. Some embrace it as an opportunity to learn and bide their time. Others see it as a cage, a place where careers stall. Sanders' camp apparently believed the latter. By refusing Baltimore, Sanders signaled he wanted a clearer path to the starting role. In the end, he landed with the Cleveland Browns. But Cleveland was no paradise. Veteran Joe Flacco was still there. Rookie Dillon Gabriel joined the roster. Sanders found himself buried on the depth chart, the very situation he seemed to be avoiding. It was at this point that Cam Newton weighed in. Cam Newton is no stranger to quarterback controversy. A former Heisman winner, a #1 overall pick, and an NFL MVP, he experienced both superstardom and the brutal reality of losing a starting job. When he speaks on the life of a quarterback, people listen. Newton criticized Sanders' refusal to join the Ravens. To Newton, the chance to sit behind Lamar Jackson was not a punishment, but a blessing. He pointed out that Jackson represents everything a young quarterback should want to learn from. He is not just one of the most electrifying players in the league, but also a leader who has managed to avoid off-field drama, build trust within his team, and stay consistent despite immense pressure.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Newton went further. He suggested that Sanders, given his own life experiences, might have been able to relate to Jackson on a personal level. Watching how Jackson handles fame, expectations,